Okay, so the last simple transformation that we're going to be doing for this chapter is rotations. This is also the last one that you should already be familiar with. We're going to move on to more complicated transformations and computations with symmetry later on. What's important to know about a rotation, is that it's taking a shape or a point or a figure rotates around a fixed point. So basically, each point of the new image, will be the same distance from the point as the pre-image point but the line it forms will be a certain number of degrees. A certain number of degrees away from the pre-image line. I know it's a lot of words and that's kind of a confusing way to say it, so I think I'll just show you what I mean. Basically, if I take my A, it's right here, and I say rotate this A around a fixed point B, what I have to do is first I'm going to make an imaginary line from A to B. Now that line is about 6.5 inches long. So A is about 6.5 inches from B. If I said rotate A now 110 degrees, what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what is 100 degrees from A, and that'll be where our new line goes. So you're going to need a protractor. You're going to take your protractor, just like we always do, line your center up over B. Make sure that this line is parallel with your line. Then I'm going to find 110 degrees and put myself a dot. No, but that's not where our A prime is, because our A prime not only has to be in this direction 110 degrees away, it also has to be 6.5 inches away from B. So now I'm going to measure, keeping in line with this 110 degrees. Oops, that's centimeters. Keeping in line with this 110 degrees, but I'm going to measure out 6.5 inches so that it's the same distance. And there's our A prime. We went 110 degrees away. Now that's with one point. If you had multiple points, you would just do the same thing I did here with A, but with all of the points. So that at the end you had your same shape. And that's no matter where the points are, or I mean that's no matter where, I mean it is no matter where the points are, but it's also no matter where the fixed point is. It could be inside the shape, it could be outside the shape. Either way, you need to measure the distance and the degrees. Okay, so this was just a generic rotation in space, but obviously now we're going to transition into rotating things in the coordinate plane, just like we have with all the other transformations that we've done so far this week. We're not going to, at this time, be doing random degree rotations in the coordinate plane. The only three that you'll have to worry about on this homework assignment is a 90-degree rotation, a 180-degree rotation, or a 270-degree rotation. So if we have a 90-degree rotation, this is in the coordinate plane, our original point, x comma y, will become negative y comma x. So whatever our original point was in our coordinate plane, if I had a point at -1, 2, suddenly -1, 2, when it's rotated 90 degrees, will become 2, or negative y comma x, so -2, -1. So when I rotate this, we'll call this point T. When I rotate point T 90 degrees to T prime, I switch the numbers, and then I make the first one negative, make the y negative. If I'm rotating it 180 degrees, my x and my y will this time become negative x, negative y. So this time if I took t and I rotated it 180 degrees, whereas before it was -1, 2, rotating it 180 degrees, I'm going to leave them in the same order, but I'm going to change both of their signs. So we're going to have 1 and -2. It's going to be here. So this is our new t. 180 degrees brings us into this quadrant. 90 degrees was just 1, 180 was 2. If I'm rotating it, oh, not 300, 270 degrees, then my x and y will become y comma negative x. So just like with 90 degrees, I'm switching the x and the y, but this time instead of making the y negative, I made the x negative. So with our t over here at -1 and 2, to rotate it 270 degrees, I'm going to switch them to be 2 and -1, but I'm going to make x negative, and if I make -1 negative again, it just becomes +1. So our new t becomes at 2 and 1. And that's with a 270 degree rotation. And those are the only three that will be on your homework today.